Desk.
Good afternoon, Carl Deffenbaugh joining you here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. Excuse me, as we get you going here, 12:30 or so, just past the half-hour mark here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin on this Monday. We are ready to take you around the state and around the world over the next 30 minutes or so as we get zoomed back here a little bit. Our cameras, there we go, working for you in the moment. Let's take you around to some of the things that we're hoping to follow here on this Monday afternoon from the Wisconsin Live Desk. First and foremost, let's head up north to Green Bay because this is the scene right outside of Lambeau Field. Draft week is upon us as here in Wisconsin, this has been an event and a week that has had years of planning come into the mix. And it is finally here. The first round of the NFL Draft Thursday night. That is the stage where the number one pick and all the others to follow will walk out and have their lives change forever right there in Titletown. We'll switch over to another camera shot of Green Bay, Wisconsin on this Monday. You can see Lambeau Field in the background there. All of the different things that have been built up in preparation for the draft, the Rush Center as well, and the different Packer facilities there all playing into the footprint for the NFL Draft. One of the biggest events of the NFL offseason coming to the smallest market in the league, and that is going to be quite the scene throughout the back half of this week here in Wisconsin. As we take you around the country then, a live look at the White House on this Monday, and you'll notice the flags flying at half-staff. That is because of the news of the world today, around the world, I should say, as we give you a live feed here, both at Vatican City in Italy, or this little part of Rome carved out to be Vatican City, and a live look at the proceedings after the announcement of the death of Pope Francis. This was the news the world received overnight. And early this morning, 7:35 local time at the Vatican was when Pope Francis finally passed away at the age of 88. This was after a series of health struggles over the last month or two, including double pneumonia. He had spent 38 days in a hospital as well, the longest hospitalization of his 12 years as Pope, eventually ending, even though he made it through Easter services. This was a bit of the surprise for many in the Vatican and around the world, on this day, is that he had actually made an appearance Easter Sunday, taking part in some of the services. He met with the Vice President of the United States, J.D. Vance, who is on a world tour right now, actually in India today, but yesterday was in the Vatican for Easter services. And as things continue to play out, we will continue to check in with what is happening. Let's see if there's any audio for this. What is happening as the world remembers a pope who dramatically changed the course of the Catholic Church. Let's listen to some of the ceremonies.
Credo che tutti abbiamo ancora nel cuore le parole che tante volte ci ha rivolto Papa Francesco, il suo invito: non dimenticatevi di pregare per me. Vogliamo farlo chiaramente questa sera per accompagnarlo nella sua Pasqua, nella fede in Cristo risorto che celebriamo in questo giorno santo di Pasqua. Sappiamo che la morte non è una porta che si chiude, ma l'ingresso nella Gerusalemme celeste, dove il lamento è mutato in danza, la veste di sacco in abito di gioia. Vogliamo ringraziare il Signore per i doni che ha fatto alla Chiesa con il ministero apostolico di Papa Francesco, pellegrino di speranza che non delude, e vogliamo affidarlo al Padre misericordioso in comunione con Maria, Madre della Chiesa, Regina del Cielo, e per intercessione dell'Apostolo Pietro. Alla nostra voce orante si unisce alla voce dei nostri fratelli, delle nostre sorelle sparse nel mondo. È tutto il gregge di Cristo, buon pastore, che prega per Papa Francesco, contemplando i misteri gloriosi del nostro Salvatore.
Primo mistero della gloria. Gesù è risorto e vivo. Dal Vangelo secondo Luca. Il primo giorno della settimana, al mattino presto, le donne si recarono al sepolcro. Trovarono che la pietra era stata rimossa dal sepolcro e, entrate, non trovarono il corpo del Signore Gesù. Le donne, impaurite, tenevano il volto chinato a terra, ma quelli dissero loro: «Perché cercate tra i morti colui che è vivo? Non è qui, è risorto». Ed esse annunciarono tutto questo agli 11 e a tutti gli altri.
Pater noster, qui es in celis, sanctificetur nomen tuum, adveniat regnum tuum, fiat voluntas tua, sicut in cielo et in terra.
Panem nostrum quotidianum da nobis hodie, et dimitte nobis debita nostra, sicut et nos dimittimus debitoribus nostris, et ne nos inducas in tentationem, sed libera nos a malo.
Ave Maria, gratia plena, Dominus tecum, benedicta tui mulieribus, et benedictus fructus ventris tui, Iesus.
Sancta Maria, Mater Dei, ora pro nobis peccatoribus, nunc et in hora mortis nostre. Amen.
Ave Maria, gratia plena, Dominus tecum, benedicta tui mulieribus, et benedictus fructus ventris tui, Iesus.
Sancta Maria, Mater Dei, ora pro nobis peccatoribus, nunc et in hora mortis nostre. Amen.
Ave Maria, gratia plena, Dominus tecum, benedicta tui mulieribus, et benedictus fructus ventris tui, Iesus.
Sancta Maria, Mater Dei, ora pro nobis peccatoribus, nunc et in hora mortis nostre. Amen.
Ave Maria, gratia plena, Dominus tecum, benedicta tui mulieribus, et benedictus fructus ventris tui, Iesus.
Sancta Maria, Mater Dei, ora pro nobis peccatoribus, nunc et in hora mortis nostre. Amen.
Ave Maria, gratia plena, Dominus tecum, benedicta tui mulieribus, et benedictus fructus ventris tui, Iesus.
Sancta Maria, Mater Dei, ora pro nobis peccatoribus, nunc et in hora mortis nostre. Amen.
Ave Maria, gratia plena, Dominus tecum, benedicta tui mulieribus, et benedictus fructus ventris tui, Iesus.
Sancta Maria, Mater Dei, ora pro nobis peccatoribus, nunc et in hora mortis nostre. Amen.
Ave Maria, gratia plena, Dominus tecum, benedicta tui mulieribus, et benedictus fructus ventris tui, Iesus.
Sancta Maria, Mater Dei, ora pro nobis peccatoribus, nunc et in hora mortis nostre. Amen.
Ave Maria, gratia plena, Dominus tecum, benedicta tui mulieribus, et benedictus fructus ventris tui, Iesus.
Sancta Maria, Mater Dei, ora pro nobis peccatoribus, nunc et in hora mortis nostre. Amen.
Ave Maria, gratia plena, Dominus tecum, benedicta tu in mulieribus, et benedictus fructus ventris tui, Iesus.
Santa Maria, Mater Dei, ora pro nobis peccatoribus, nunc et in hora mortis nostre. Amen.
Ave Maria, gratia plena, Dominus tecum, benedicta tu in mulieribus, et benedictus fructus ventris tui, Iesus.
Santa Maria, Mater Dei, ora pro nobis peccatoribus, nunc et in hora mortis nostre. Amen. Gloria Patri et Filio, et Spiritui Sancto, sicut erat in principio et nunc et semper, et in saecula saeculorum. Amen.
As the ceremonies continue at the Vatican, evening local time, it is 12:41 here in Wisconsin. We're going to take a short break on the Wisconsin Live Desk. Of course, the news of the day around the world here in Wisconsin and as well as overseas at the Vatican, the death of Pope Francis at the age of 88, the first Latin American pontiff in history, the first from outside of Europe in more than a millennia. And what a legacy he leaves behind, making it through Easter services yesterday and then dies early this morning at the age of 88, with the search for a new pope now just beginning, as they are still very much in the mourning period for the Catholic Church there at the Vatican and around the world. We're going to take a short break here on the Wisconsin Live Desk and get you some of the other news of the day, particularly closer to home out in Waukesha County, before we take you back up to Green Bay for the NFL Draft just 3 days away as well. That's all to come here on the Wisconsin Live Desk.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Good afternoon, Carl Deffenbaugh joining you in the Wisconsin Live Desk, 12:44 on this Monday afternoon here in Milwaukee. But for our next story, the news as it happens here on the Wisconsin Live Desk, we're going to head west a little bit to Waukesha County and check in with our Waukesha County reporter, Brett Lemoyne, who is joining us now. Brett, how are you? Where are you joining us from on this Monday afternoon?
Oh, Carl, we've got something pretty exciting for you today. We are inside the new wing of the Waukesha County Courthouse. Just for a little bit of history here before we get too in the nitty-gritty of it. The courthouse itself here in Waukesha County was built in 1959. At that time, the population of the county was about 158,000. Today, it's at about 400,000. So you can tell right then and there why there was a need to expand the footprint of the building. Where I'm standing right now is this new wing that opens up just today. And right as we turn the corner here, you can see this is the entrance, right? This is where people would normally come into the courthouse. And before today, really, in order to get to the new secure wing, which is the other end of the hallway, if you take a look, we'll just take a peek way down the other end of the hallway there. That was built in 2021. So in order to get there, quite a few hoops. Let me take you over here, and you can see the remnants of the tunnel. Wing opened up. Hallway, down an elevator, through a cafeteria, out into this courtyard here, and then cross the courtyard, go out back outside, and then up an elevator, and then up into that little area that you see down here. So why is that significant, Carl? It's significant because those courtrooms down there, that's where the majority of the people end up going. You end up going for traffic incidents, things like that. If you're making an initial appearance or if you've been summoned to court, that's where you got to go. It's a stressful time for people, right? Anytime you go to the courthouse, it's more than likely pretty stressful, unless you're getting married. Of course, we did a story about that last week. But yeah, it's pretty stressful, and a lot of people were getting lost along the way. Not ideal. Here's what you get to see now. This is we just talked to Commissioner Bailey just a minute ago. This is going to be where you will go if you do have one of those new traffic. We can't get into the courtroom itself. We will show you tonight on Fox Local tonight at 5. A good look, but you can see this is a pretty modern space now. All of these courtrooms are equipped with cameras, so if you're having to zoom in a witness or show an exhibit, a digital exhibit, to a jury, for example, it makes it a whole lot easier. Now, phase 2 of this project, this wing that we're standing in, this started back in September of 2023, and it adds 11 new courtrooms here. The secure wing added 8. So you can see the footprint of this whole complex has really expanded. When you add it all together, both the secure wing and this wing, it comes to a price tag of about $150 million. That's all taxpayer dollars. Some ARPA funds were used to pay for it, but we're told this is the largest municipal construction project in Waukesha County's history. So it is very significant indeed. And you take a look up those stairs, that is the secure tower that again opened back in 2021. Now, this whole project, it's still a little ways to go before it's done. 2027 is when everything will be all set and done. But basically, while it makes it easy to get around, Carl, we do have some bad news to share because by the end of this year, early 2026, everything's kind of going up, boggled up again because the it's going to be the next phase of this construction project. So in other words, while it's easy now, you got a straight shot. You can come in and you go up and down through this corridor here. Come January of 2026 or thereabouts, you're going to have a little hike because you're going to have to enter into this building that we see right across the way here. So once again, we'll be entering through a different means when you go to the courthouse. You'll come in through the administration side and then you'll wind your way around. So lots of changes, lots of things to keep track of, Carl, but everybody here says this is really for the best, and it's not only to make courts here more efficient, but also to really benefit the public, Carl.
I guess it's one of those constants of life here in Wisconsin, whether it's on an interstate or inside a courthouse. Construction season kind of never ends, right? It's always on to the next project. All right, a few questions for you, Brett. First and foremost, a quick one. New paint smell, is it still there in the building?
Oh, yes. I think so. Yeah, definitely. I mean, and you can see, even if you take a peek inside, like this is like a conference room that is right outside of one of the new courtrooms. So, you know, you come in here with your attorney after or before a hearing and have a little private discussion. You can see there's still some work that's being done even today, even as this this hallway has opened up and these courtrooms are getting ready to open. Most of them will be fully functional by Friday. But you can still see, yeah, there's still some work being done, but yeah, it smells brand new.
How about one of those courtrooms that you showed us? This made me think of it. Just what have you heard from some of the people about how the legal profession has changed? I can say this being married to a lawyer, but even just the appearances in court, the pandemic completely shifted things. So many of the criminal cases still happen in person. That stayed the case during the pandemic, but many of the other ones that you talk about, whether it's traffic, whether it's some of the other things, those have changed. Civil cases certainly, to many of them taking care of things on Zoom. It definitely strikes me, thinking about the technology in place when that building was first built all those decades ago, to the way that trials and court cases and appearances in front of a judge are handled in 2025.
Yeah, absolutely. And as we said, these courtrooms that we have here and then the ones that opened in 2021 in the secure wing, they all have cameras now. They're all fully functioning to be digital spaces as well. And we've seen this, Carl, a number of times throughout the last couple of years, even as the secure wing has opened up, that, you know, sometimes there are witnesses, experts, certain testimony that's being given, or family members of victims or victims themselves who don't feel comfortable being here in the courtroom, but they do feel comfortable zooming in and being here via Zoom. So yeah, there are lots of ways that these new technologies are being used and put into practice.
And then a final question for you, Brett. You mentioned that number. That was a big number, of course, for a project of this size. Was there pushback at all to using a lot of taxpayer funds for this, or it was kind of the time was due? It was a necessary procedure out there to update the courthouse to what it needed to be?
Yeah, I mean, we've covered the story a couple of times over the last couple of years here, and I don't recall any major pushback within the community. Of course, you're always going to have people that don't want to spend taxpayer dollars, period, right? But the county says not only was it necessary, but they also said in staggering this out over the course of really almost a decade, they say they've been able to save taxpayer dollars in that, you know, being able to do this in phases has kind of cut back on some of the external costs here.
Yeah, so that initial hit isn't as massive if it's spread over the years or the decade there, as you say. Brett Lemoyne reporting from the brand new wing of the Waukesha County Courthouse, where the new paint smell is still there. Thank you very much, Brett. Good to have you with us here.
Thanks, Carl.
As we get you ready to go for all things new and happening throughout southeastern Wisconsin, whether it's a new building, a new facility like that, or the news of the day. We're going to take a short break here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. Let Brett get back to his reporting. He mentioned some of the rooms, the actual court rooms. You'll be able to see that in his full report this evening on Fox Local and during our newscasts this evening. The story is to be posted as well after the fact. But if you want to check it out, much more from Brett, our Waukesha County reporter, coming throughout the day here on Fox Local.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Welcome back to the Wisconsin Live Desk. Carl Deffenbaugh back with you here on this Monday afternoon in Milwaukee, while many of the eyes, especially for the sports fans here in the state of Wisconsin, are farther north. That would be just outside of Lambeau Field as we prepare for the NFL Draft. It is finally draft week here in the state of Wisconsin, and in the NFL's smallest market, Green Bay gets to have the marquee event of the NFL offseason in town this week, and there's been so much planning, months, years of both pitching the NFL on this and then securing what the draft will look like in Titletown starting Thursday night with the first round. You're giving a bit of a shot there. You can see it's a bit breezy up there, that camera bouncing around on this Monday afternoon, but that is the stage where Roger Goodell will announce the picks, and starting with the number one pick in this year's draft, that person will walk out on stage, their lives forever changed by whichever team decides to select them in whatever order. It'll play out Thursday as so many of the preparations continue right up until that opening round on Thursday. Of course, if you're heading up to Green Bay, it is a massive event. They are expecting hundreds of thousands of people in Green Bay, many fans from different teams around the league there to cheer on their team, maybe boo them if they don't agree with the selection as well, and a whole lot of player appearances, music, and more. Some of the different events you'll be able to check out over the next few days this weekend in Titletown. In the meantime, we want to take you inside a different part of Green Bay right now as you're seeing some law enforcement, other security officials gathering. They're about to start a news conference discussing all things preparation for the NFL Draft, from the security footprint to what you'll notice a number of different members of local law enforcement, first responders, leaders in Green Bay about to step to that podium you saw momentarily there and discuss how the week of preparation has gone, any questions from the media leading up to this massive event in Green Bay. Once that begins, we will take you there live to that event in Titletown. They're just getting situated right now, and when it begins, we will bring that to you. In the meantime, though, we want to get you back out to the Vatican, where the ceremonies continue for Pope Francis, who died this morning at the age of 88. And that was announced by one of the cardinals at the Vatican, Kevin Farrell, who said at 7:35 this morning, speaking, of course, local time at the Vatican, the Bishop of Rome, Francis, returned to the home of the Father. His entire life was dedicated to the service of the Lord and of his church. And there have been memorials and remembrances held and posted throughout the day today from around the world. Here in Milwaukee, certainly, we heard from our new Archbishop of the Milwaukee Archdiocese this morning, along with many other members of the Catholic Church and the faith, saddened by the death of Francis at 88. Enlivened by his public appearance he was able to make on one final Easter Sunday yesterday, blessing thousands of people in St. Peter's Square, drawing cheers and applause before ultimately dying early this morning, 7:35 local time at the Vatican. As this service continues, let's listen into a bit more from St. Peter's Square, right outside of St. Peter's Basilica at Vatican City.
Benedicta tui mulieribus, et benedictus fructus ventris tui, Iesus.
Santa Maria, Mater Dei, ora pro nobis peccatoribus, nunc...
And it appears that shot has changed, as just for a second there we got you a live look at the White House. Let me see if I can pop that back up for you here. That is the joy of the Wisconsin Live Desk. They can change things on the fly and you're never quite sure what's going to come next. So there we go. I believe I have this back up for you. Let's listen in to the
Ave Maria, gratia plena, Dominus tecum, benedicta tui mulieribus, et benedictus fructus ventris tui, Iesus.
Santa Maria, Mater Dei, ora pro nobis peccatoribus, nunc et in hora mortis nostre. Amen.
Ave Maria, gratia plena, Dominus tecum, benedicta tui mulieribus, et benedictus fructus ventris tui, Iesus.
Santa Maria, Mater Dei, ora pro nobis peccatoribus, nunc et in hora mortis nostre. Amen.
Ave Maria, gratia plena, Dominus tecum, benedicta tui mulieribus, et benedictus fructus ventris tui, Iesus.
And while the ceremonies continue for the faithful at the Vatican, mourning the loss of Pope Francis, we want to keep an eye on things here. There was a person who just stepped to the podium. There we go, live in Green Bay discussing some of the security arrangements. Let's listen in.
Everyone to this press conference. I think it's important to note the number of people that are in the room, not only just members of the media, but the people that are at the table with us today. There are folks here from the village, from the city, the county, the state, all over our region. Each of us have been partnering in putting together what will hopefully be an absolutely wonderfully first-class event, not only for the greater Green Bay area, but for the entire state of Wisconsin and the Green Bay Packers. So again, I want to welcome you to the village of Ashwaubenon. Before we get started, I do want to welcome Max Caesar from Great North Hospitality. We're in a brand new building. In fact, they broke ground just this past year. I think they completed construction in like 12 months, record time, in order to open for the draft. And it's the events like the NFL draft and large-scale events and activities like that that afford the opportunity for business expansion and economic development. And Great North Hospitality is a prime example of that. And so, Mac, I want to welcome you up to the podium here to say a few words and welcome our guests here today. And of course, Mac and his team will be available after today's press conference to answer any questions and provide media availability as well. Matt?
All right. Thanks, Joel. And just want to say thank you to the village for giving us the opportunity to host. So welcome, members of the media, both local and traveling. Just this last week, we opened Great North Commons, this property, for the first time. And we're very excited, lots of hard work to put this facility together, both with our construction partners, our internal teams, our management teams, and our vendor partners as well. So kudos to everybody that's been involved. Lots of effort, diligence put into this project, and we're excited to showcase it here this week for the NFL Draft.
Thank you, Matt. And now what I'd like to do is introduce Mary Kardowski, our village president here at the village of Ashwaubenon, that will welcome some other dignitaries here today. Mary.
Thank you, Joel. Thank you to everybody for coming today. What a beautiful space we have here in Ashwaubenon. I'm glad everybody was able to attend. This is a pretty exciting event. You know, we're going to be on the world stage here in little old Wisconsin. Everybody thinks that we all live in very rustic homes, and we get to showcase our beautiful area. From the beginning of a year ago, I think it was a year ago, that Joel and I got together, and we were going to possibly start planning some events for the NFL draft. We had some meetings here with our local business people, you know, the Shemanskys here at 789 Armed Forces and D2s and Stadium View and the bar, and they were going to be having a lot of events of their own, so we thought we did not want to overshadow any of those things. So, you know, everybody can come down and enjoy all those wonderful events here in the village, and everybody will want to come back. So I'm glad everybody's here. There's a lot of people here in the village now that I've never seen before, so we have a lot of excitement going on. So thank you to everybody, and I would now like to introduce the Mayor of Green Bay.
Well, thanks so much, Mary, for the introduction. I'm really honored here to kind of kick off draft week with all these amazing people behind me. As Mary said, you know, this has been a really positive experience, a really collaborative experience. This would not be happening without so many people and entities coming together to make this possible. The city of Green Bay and in our community is obviously the smallest NFL city, but we've got the biggest heart and I think a great ability to come together across municipal boundaries with partnerships across the board to pull together a really incredible event. So just a quick rundown of thank yous from my point of view. Obviously, Mary and the village of Ashwaubenon. You're going to be hearing from Troy Streckenbach in just a few minutes. The county, the city, the village from a local government perspective has been coming together regularly to tackle some of the important logistical issues that are necessary in putting on an event of this scale. So just really want to recognize their leadership and their willingness to collaborate on a whole host of issues. Also want to recognize, of course, Brad Toll and Discover Green Bay, the Green Bay Packers, led in many respects on this issue by Aaron Popke. I know Aaron and Brad have been going to drafts for a very long time, identifying this event very early on after it left New York as a thing that the community here would be able to pull off and do really well. So kudos to them, and again, everybody behind me. Most importantly, our public safety teams, again, not just from the city of Green Bay, but our chief in Chief Davis and Chief Knott from Police and Fire, their entire teams. We've heard nothing but compliments from the NFL in terms of how they've been able to come together, again, with county and village public safety to put on a really safe and welcoming event for people. So, I think we're all really excited to get to draft week. We've got a number of things to complement what's going on here over at Lambeau, kicking things off on Wednesday and rounding things off on Saturday down at Liked Park, and then a bunch of downtown Green Bay sponsored events kind of earlier on during the day before things get going here out at the campus. One thing that I heard from mayors who have hosted, from former host cities, from the mayor of Detroit and the mayor of Kansas City, was really, do whatever you can to leverage this event, to put your best foot forward, to attract people into the community, and to kind of circulate them to other places when the event itself is not ongoing. And so that's something that I really took to heart, and as a result of the partnerships that I have talked about, I think we're going to be able to put on some really fantastic events to complement what's going on here with the NFL draft itself. So we've got a lot of other folks to talk, so I'll cut it there, but I'm going to kick things over to our county executive, Troy Streckenbach.
Thank you, Mayor Genrich. What a great day. This building, they knocked it out of the park. And I think that really showcases everything that we've been doing along the whole corridor, the promenade. I know that the city of Green Bay, the village of Ashwaubenon, Discover Green Bay, the Green Bay Packers, we all kind of came together and said, we need to have another vision for the Resch Center complex. And, standing here and getting this type of bird's eye view of the whole promenade leading to Lambeau Field, I think we as a community, just like we're seeing today, as you heard the mayor talk about, the municipalities, the county, our first responders, we're all coming together to really put our best foot forward in terms of making sure that from our capacities, we can do the best job to invite and welcome all these people who are going to be coming to Lambeau Field and to visit and to see this NFL draft in the smallest market in the NFL. From the county's perspective, as you heard me talk about briefly about the Resch Expo, our partner, of course, is PMI. Without their support in running the complex for us, it wouldn't be the success that it is today. And I know that the partnership with the NFL.
Well, some of the official comments there continue in Green Bay and in Ashwaubenon, right outside of Lambeau Field. We're going to sneak in a quick break here on the Wisconsin Live Desk, get you back once they get into more of the details about the draft and what's to come this week. All of those different partners in place in Titletown for one of the biggest events they will ever throw. It's like back-to-back-to-back Packers game days coming this weekend with the amount of people in town. We'll take a short break here on the Wisconsin Live Desk, get you back to Titletown on the other side.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Welcome back to the Wisconsin Live Desk. Carl Deffenbaugh hanging out with you on this Monday afternoon of draft week as we give you a live look at the stage in Tennessee. Not quite on the clock yet, but they will be pretty soon once the first round of the NFL draft begins on Thursday, running through all the different logos and graphics and the like to make sure it all goes off perfectly once Green Bay has its spot in the national spotlight starting this weekend. It's like a Packers home game times 3, back to back to back, as we want to get you back to this briefing from different officials. We've heard from politicians as well as some safety officials will speak as well. All of it getting ready to hold this massive event in the Green Bay area, the NFL's smallest market. Let's listen back into the briefing.
Green Bay Packers. And yeah, I think once you guys come up and we will see who. This is an opportunity for you guys to ask questions. I didn't ask any of these people to prepare anything. So what questions do you have for the Green Bay Packers and the NFL? Good job.
Do you have any indication of how many one-pass downloads there are, or what the anticipated attendance is going to be compared to the 250,000 here for so long?
We have an indication, yes. Certainly the reaction in the community statewide, but also within those drivable markets has been really strong. So we do have a number. Our commissioner likes to declare that number from the podium, usually Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, so I don't want to undercut him. He's my boss. But we know it's going to be tens of thousands of fans that are going to come to this campus over the course of those 3 days. We've worked tirelessly with all the public safety partners, with all of the community members, certainly NFL Security and the Packers and Discover Green Bay, to make sure, number one, that everybody gets here safely. I know it sounds like a really big number. It will be a very big number, but safety is a non-negotiable for us. So we will have a post-event, an aggregate number, which will include our attendance number, our one-pass download number, and then certainly in the coming months, our local economic impact number. But we know it's going to be tens of thousands, and we're really excited to open our doors on Thursday.
Feel free to just show them.
Back here. Green Bay being the smallest city, when thinking about planning and having this event come together, any challenges, differences, or benefits from it being a smaller city versus a larger one?
That's a good question. Go ahead.
I don't want to be the designated person. I'm just the bossy person. I think for us, regardless of the market that we're in, the collaboration is always the same. So the challenges are always security, weather, emergency planning, bringing all the people to the table, especially our host club and the local organizing committee. So regardless of the city that we're in, whether it's a smaller market like a Buffalo or a Green Bay or a New York or a Los Angeles, because our team that builds the draft also builds Super Bowls and events internationally. So the collaboration is always the same. I think here in a smaller market, there's obviously hotel inventory, things that are a little bit shorter than what we traditionally have in a bigger market, but we know that we're going to have all these amazing feeder markets throughout Madison and Milwaukee, drivable NFL markets that are going to come in, and people here don't care if they have to drive 90 miles, right? So it's a totally different thing, but the collaboration and the cooperation, the partnership is always the same regardless of the size of the market.
Can you be specific? You kind of rattled off a couple different challenges. What has been like the biggest challenge that has been just kind of racking your brain, that you're kind of like, gosh, this is a big one that we have to kind of work through? And go ahead.
Yeah.
Weather, unpredictability. And I also want to add one thing about, you talk about the size of the city. Your public safety partners in this area are phenomenal. They have done an outstanding job. They've been working on this for a year. A lot of the stuff that we normally have to help facilitate, they took the mantle and ran with it themselves. So by the time we got close, I mean, we were ready to go. They are very, very good here.
Could you maybe be a little specific with, in terms of them being phenomenal and already taking the reins with some of that stuff? Could you be specific with saying some of that? Or?
Just real quick, I forgot to add this. When you first come up, just say your name so everybody knows who we are.
So Ralph Ennis, Director of NFL Security. I'm the security lead for the draft. just stuff like staffing, knowing what their responsibilities are, what they're going to have to do. A lot of the leaders here have went around the country and looking at how we do different drafts in other places, so they knew what to expect. And off of those learnings, they really took they took the lead and put a lot in place prior to us getting here.
You kind of mentioned weather as one of your big things, kind of in that early part of that first answer. Do you want to just elaborate on that? Is that planning for, like, you know, rain, snow? Like...
Yeah, so one of the things when you have an outdoor event, you have to have plans in place for if you have lightning or a severe storm or high winds coming through. So we have to, you know, take the entire draft footprint and make sure we have like really solid plans where to send people, how to communicate to them. Even building it, like what you do if you have high winds and big kites, right? So there's a lot of pieces to that. And this time of year in Green Bay, we know it could be 60 one day and 30 the next. So it's a lot of contingencies we have to have a place to be able to address it.
Ralph, a question for you. Could you just kind of walk us through what the security team that you're leading will be doing on draft day?
So from the NFL, we have multiple directors that have different jobs on their day-to-day. They're assigned different parts of the footprint, and they're responsible for working with their public safety partners and making sure that everything stays safe, right? Safety is our biggest thing we worry about at any NFL event. So, you know, we make sure that they're communicating with NFL Control, which is basically a big unified command that exists up in the stadium, and that decisions are being made and instituted in a way that will keep people safe.
Counter to that question that I asked to your biggest challenge, can you share what was the biggest triumph in planning this event? What is something that you were like, gosh, we nailed it out of the park with this. We can't wait to share this with people when they come to Green Bay?
I think, Kelsey, you're getting up here, girl. Kelsey's the one that built this thing. Oh, Nikki Ewell, Senior Director of Events, the NFL, the bossy one. I would say the thing that we're most proud of at the draft in any city that we're in, and certainly here, is how the culture of the state and the traditions of the club show up. I think you'll be really excited to see from every single day, from the opening moment to the programming that we're going to have throughout the 3 days. Day 3 for us is really special because it's this celebration of the community. So the state of Wisconsin is really going to come to life. You're going to see a lot of things from polka and quilting circles to celebrities. Obviously, we're really excited about Brad Paisley and that concert that's really driving a lot of attention. So I think the culture of the state and the traditions of the host club are really what we're so proud of. And we did that in collaboration with really the broader community, of course the Packers, but the food and the music and the traditions are really going to be something that we're really proud of over those course of those 3 days. And we also want to make sure that people know the event is 100% free, except for whatever you buy at concessions or NFL Shop presented by Visa. So this is an event that we're proud of because it's very accessible. Not everybody's lucky enough to get a ticket to a Packers game, right? So this is your opportunity to visit the mecca of pro football, also in a really affordable way. So we're really proud of that work. And also we have different programming every single day. So really encourage fans to come back every single day if they're able, because it's going to be unique every single day. It's not always the same, whether it's the food offerings or the player appearances. We're still actively booking players that are making free appearances, and that schedule will be in the OnePass app. So we're actively getting those guys booked. So it's going to look a little different every single day. Certainly the programming on the main stage, our theater, is going to be different every single day. So we hope we have some repeat guests over the course of the 3 days.
I guess you mentioned you had
I was going to follow up on that.
Sure. Sorry.
Gabrielle with the Green Bay Packers. I think one of the big aha for us is the collaboration and day-to-day work with our members of our LOC. So Discover Green Bay and PMI. I mean, there are conversations daily, hourly, weekly, and both organizations have just stepped up and helped us get this done. And then also our host committee. We have 4 members on our host committee. Mike Haddad, Kate Burgess, George Kuntz, and Nancy Armbrust, and for raising the money to get us here, and the donors that stepped up to help us host this, not only the state, the Green Bay Packers, and we can get you the other donors, but they all came to the table for this great event in our state. Thank you.
72 hours out, what still needs to be accomplished out in the footprint? Nick is going to force me. So Kelsey Petrangelo, event operations, overseeing the event. So we started here March 29th. We got a lot done. As you can see, each day we're progressing. At this point, it's really the final touches, the small details that really come together and matter. Operationally, we're feeling really good. We got the theater, the structure up, as everybody can see from behind me. The entries are built. I'm sure you can't miss them on your way in. So really now, this is kind of the final hours as into the lead up of the operational plan, making sure all of the details that we've pulled together for so long are the right ones, and getting the rest of the team on the ground to really refine that, and then add the finishing touches, all of the different decor, lighting, everything that really goes into the overall show and the 3 days.
Noah Cornelius, NBC 26. What do you hope that the communities beyond Green Bay get out of this? Because I cover the FOX City's Appleton area, even though it's a 30-minute drive. I know a lot of people are coming up here for the draft. So what do you hope beyond Green Bay that people get out of this?
This is an event for the state of Wisconsin. So certain cities that were hosting events, it's about the smaller community. Last year, for example, it was Metro Detroit, Wayne County. This is a statewide draft. But we also know this is such a mecca of football, and people from all over the U.S. really come to this. We certainly have international media. So we want people to see themselves in the programming that we have. We're really proud of the programming that we'll have throughout Titletown and the Resch Center complex. Again, the food experience is really core to what we do with the draft. So we have, of course, our partners Delaware North are curating amazing food, Hinterland in 1919 and The Turn, Bel Air Cantina, plus we have all of these local vendors, source vendors we call them, that are going to be curating the food and beverage experience. So I think we'll get the food right. We hope we get the food right, but we also want to make sure that we're dispelling any notions of what people think Wisconsin is. I think sometimes there's tropes around it, and we certainly have dealt with this in other cities that we're in. We want to make sure that we make the state of Wisconsin proud of what we're going to produce over the 3 days. And that's, again, that's very much in collaboration, as Gabrielle said, with Discover Green Bay, PMI, the Packers. They're influencing everything that we do to make sure that we get it right.
And I know that there's no benchmark for this. I know you mentioned Detroit. That's a big metropolitan area.
It is.
But I guess in all of your careers, have you ever seen anything, an undertaking like this before? And can you kind of speak to that?
I think this is probably one of the larger footprints that we have. I think we're at 70 football fields. It's a smaller market, which I know a number of people have brought up, but it doesn't matter that the collaboration is still the same. It's different because we're in a community. There's houses in residential communities nearby. Last year was challenging because we were in an urban footprint. We had a thoroughfare into Canada that we had to deal with, right? So every single city that we have for a draft, it has its own individual challenges. This one we know is going to be really special, and we hope everybody understands how impactful this is, and also they show up, and we want them to show out in a really big way all 3 days.
While that continues in Green Bay, this is the ping pong effect of the Wisconsin Live Desk, from the excitement for the NFL Draft in Green Bay up there in Titletown to the serious news of the day as we give you another live look at St. Peter's Square there in the Vatican City following the death of Pope Francis. There is new information we have just received from the top doctor at the Vatican when it comes to the details of Pope Francis's death at the age of 88. The head of the Vatican Health Department said that he died of a cerebral stroke that put him into a coma and led to irreversible heart failure. And this followed a number of other health issues for the pontiff, who noted that top doctor noted Francis also suffered from episodes of respiratory insufficiency and bilateral pneumonia, as well as type 2 diabetes and hypertension. But ultimately, the cause of death at 7:35 this morning local time at the Vatican was a cerebral stroke that put Pope Francis into a coma and led to irreversible heart failure. That's according to the head of the Vatican's health department. There have also been, from the Pope's final will and testament, some details on how he will be buried. A decree from Pope Francis that he wishes to be buried at the St. Mary Major Basilica in a simple underground tomb with just the name Franciscus written on that tomb. If you followed any of his life and legacy of the coverage today after his death, a humble man, and he is choosing that as the way that he exits the world as well, wanting to be buried in a simple underground tomb there near the Vatican. While that continues, we want to get you back and forth. This is kind of the ping pong effect, right, with the Wisconsin Live Desk. We go from the serious and the death of a world leader, a religious leader at that, back to the security and the excitement around the NFL draft in Green Bay, the NFL's smallest market. Let's listen to a little bit more of this briefing before we get you out of here on the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Draft tour. Earlier this year that we went around the state and heard from people that were excited about people coming through and making stops on the way in and on the way out. Even going back to last May when we did our handoff from the state of Michigan and emphasizing the outdoor recreation opportunities that we have in the state. So hopefully people get a chance to take these in across the state and come experience this. And it's something we're really excited about. The Packers are really proud. I know Mark Murphy, even going back to when it went to Chicago, he right away said, hey, you know, they're going to take this on the road and we have to have it in our community. And we couldn't do it without everybody that's been mentioned, everyone here today. I think the collaboration is one of the triumphs, too, that we saw from what you mentioned earlier. Just everybody coming together and all the fine details that needed to be addressed. It's really something to see. And I think everybody here who works together on so many things saw it to a grander scale with the draft, and we can certainly see that physically.
As the officials are ready for the NFL's biggest event of the offseason there in Green Bay, we are ready to end this edition of Wisconsin Live Desk. That press conference, by the way, continues to stream on a different Fox local channel as well as our FOX6 Milwaukee YouTube channel. Thanks for watching.